Hey everybody, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I am Shonda Branch, the cultural creative and founder of Living Kwanzaa 365. I'm so excited to be with you guys again this week. We were together last week talking about my breastfeeding journey and the comments. Um, yeah, y'all. It's been a fantastic day so far. I had a really great meeting already once this morning, and now I get to spend just a few minutes with you guys. So let me know in the chat, where are you from? Where are you following from? And if you're not following already, go ahead and follow Living Kwanzaa 365. I'm so excited. I see you guys coming in. Hey, y'all. Hey. Cool. Very cool. And if you're watching this later, welcome. It's good to have you. I'm so excited to talk just a little bit more about not only my breastfeeding journey, but how we can truly use breastfeeding as a platform to enrich the lives of our children, our communities, how we can really support moms who are making this choice for themselves. My baby is 6 years old. She did my nails. This was all her. My baby did this manicure for me. Um, but my journey may be over, but there are women behind me who I want to enrich. There are women who are journeying alongside me, who are entering motherhood for the first time, and I want to create a space where we are making it as easy as possible for them to make a great choice around breastfeeding. I probably will refer to it as body feeding because this algorithm is sometimey. They like certain words and they don't like certain other words. So body feeding will come out of my mouth quite a bit today. Yeah. All right, friends. We are about 2 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and start dropping some of this information and help you guys kind of come around to an understanding of what the connection is between Kwanzaa, which I truly believe is connected to all things and benefits all things. How we're connecting Kwanzaa to breastfeeding and body feeding. This month is National Breastfeeding Month. Let that sink in. There's a whole month to celebrate and uplift body feeding and the choice that women make to feed their bodies, to feed their babies in the most natural way possible. There's an entire month, but within that month, they have several weeks. Last week was a focus on worldwide, supporting mothers and helping to educate women about the choices that they have. And the benefits that come with body feeding. And then this week is Indigenous Milk Medicine Week. I love the sound of that. I am all about a BIPOC moment. I believe that Black, Brown, Indigenous, and other communities have to stand together, have to fight together, and that there are ways that we are connected that will allow us to stand in power. So we really want to take a minute to think about our indigenous fam and welcome them in. I honor you. I'm so glad for any of my indigenous fam that are here. If you're here in the chat, shout it out. Let me know exactly who you are and where you are coming in from. I would love to hear from you guys. I'm curious to know like exactly who I'm reaching with this content. All right. So this week we are honoring the breastfeeding tradition, the body feeding tradition. It's nourished our people for generations, right? Before there was formula, before there were, big companies mass producing this stuff, and especially in Black and Brown communities, in Indigenous communities, we were feeding our babies from our own bodies. We were making it happen. We were making it possible, right? I like to refer to them as first foods. And in my profile, in my bio, you will see First Foods Justice Advocate. It's because there is no better first food for your baby than this milk. The milk is magic, right? So black magic, milk medicine, liquid gold, you've heard it called several different things, and it's all true. It's all true. This is such good nourishment for our babies. And there's yes, there's the vitamins and minerals and the immune protection and all of that stuff, but there also is the element of the time, the nurturing, that cuddling that sweet baby close to you, being able to sing over them and to pray over them and to just be in contact and have those little moments. That's the other thing that is so significant about choosing to nourish our bodies, our babies in this way. Um, Now, something to understand specifically this week is that Black and Indigenous peoples share some historical foundations. Let's just be real about it, right? We got some stuff that we share, some stuff that is unique to our communities, things that we have experienced culturally, things that are part of our histories, that have impacted us and have shaped sort of where we have landed in this moment. There has been forced separation. There has been enslavement. There has been displacement. There has been an intentional severing of our ancestral practices, right? Um, this is one way that we can reclaim, actively take back an ancestral practice that is ours, something that is natural to us, something that our foremothers engaged in long before it was documented. Um, I think that it's critical that we wrap our minds around the fact that we share that heritage, we share that lineage, we share that history, and we can share in the liberation that comes with reclaiming that space as well, right? Um, Feeding our babies from our bodies, like I said before, it's more than just tradition. It's more than just the way we did it before. It's meaningful, it's purposeful, and it is it is a kick in the teeth to the system, right? That's trying to tell us that we can't do this, right? We are resisting a system that says that we shouldn't do that anymore, that it's antiquated or it's outdated, or that this formula, this synthesized technological wonder is better than what God gave us. We know better. We know better, right? And choosing this is actively choosing our sovereignty, is actively saying that no, we know better and we are choosing to go with what we know and understand to be the best thing for our bodies, our babies, and our communities, right? So taking control of our children's health is just it's a huge, like, somebody in the chat say buck the system. Like we're doing it. We're choosing it and we're doing it, right? Because every time that baby latches and they are getting nourishment from you, we are passing lineage from mother to child, and we are just nourishing that baby in so many ways, right? So if you chose to breastfeed, I just want to know in the chat, like, were you the first in a while to choose that? Right? I know that for a couple of generations, it had not happened in my family. I was the first in a few generations um, to actively choose breastfeeding. It was a thing. I brought it back. It was me. I was the torchbearer in my family. So is that something that, like, was passed down in your family, or was it something that was a choice that you initiated? And if you haven't, like, are you thinking that this is a thing that you will do, right? Will you be the first to bring it back in your family? Pop that in the chat. I would love to see. Let me see. Okay. I'm gonna give y'all a second to think about it and to respond. I'll keep moving. So I just I think that this is a good point to like reiterate that the story that comes along with body feeding, right, is one that is not unique to our communities, but it is native to our communities. It is something that lives and resides within our stories, right? So, how exactly can we support Black and Brown and Indigenous, especially this week, Indigenous moms who are choosing to breastfeed? How can dads and communities and partners and loving villages and circles, how can we get around these moms and support these moms and babies in this breastfeeding journey, right? Well, I'm glad you asked because my framework around implementing the 7 principles of Kwanzaa across the board, 365 days a year, and in 365 degrees of your life, right? It works, right? And there are some amazing benefits that come along with just engaging these principles and using them to support and to uplift others, right? So let's get into it a little bit, right? So we know that the first principle of Kwanzaa is umoja. That is a Swahili word, but it simply means unity, right? It seems like an easy concept. When we are unified, good things happen. Our liberation is tied together, right? So Indigenous families, Indigenous communities, Black communities, we are seeking liberation and we are tied up in this thing together, right? Living here on the land that was taken from our Native brothers and sisters, having been enslaved on this land, brought here against our will, we have some things in common. We have some things in common, and it is wise for us to hold hands and skip down the road to our liberation, right? We're going to have to join forces. We are going to have to come together and really get a good understanding of the ways in which we can truly um, the ways in which we can truly just see beyond our own stuff and get in collaboration with each other, right? When we protect Black and Indigenous parents' rights to breastfeed, when we can come together on a topic like that, then we can come together on land back. We can come together on lots of other issues that are impacting both of our communities, health disparities, social disparity. We can come together on a lot of other things. So if we can really think about protecting the right to breastfeed, because you would be shocked and amazed to know that the system is enacted in such a way that this right or this decision is stripped from some parents. They are not able to access their children. They are forced into decisions regarding their children's health that don't align with their practices and their principles. So if we can unify on this topic, making workplaces accessible, right, for mothers who are choosing to body feed, making um, making social spaces appropriate, right, ensuring that women are protected in those spaces when they are feeding their children, right? We've got to build spaces that are conducive to what a mother needs. And I can talk to you specifically about some of those needs, right? You need the time to pump. If you're choosing to work and you are away from your child, you need the time to pump and express that milk so that that milk can get back to the baby safely, right? And then can be bottle fed with the breast milk, with the body milk, okay? You need the resources. I started off my journey with a pump that was provided to me through my insurance. And by the time we got to the end of that thing, I was hand expressing into mason jars. It simply is what it is. But every mom should have access to the tools and to the resources that are most appropriate for her breastfeeding journey, her body feeding journey, right? So in terms of umoja or unity, coming together around the protection of this choice is something that we just simply have to do. We have to wrap our heads around that. The second principle is Kuji Chagulia. Say that with me in the chat. Kuji Chagulia. It simply means self-determination. And this one is actually our theme for the month of August. We are doing a deep dive. If you don't already have your self-determination journal, you can get it in my bio. And you can also go to flow.page/living Kwanzaa, where I have all of my resources posted for you guys. It's a journey. It's a journey, and you really have to take the time to know yourself well, so that in knowing yourself well and understanding what your boundaries are, understanding what your gifts and talents are, you are able to move then as a unit, right? We can't move together until we all know ourselves, until we can get ourselves together. So self-determination is a huge step, deciding for yourself who and what you will be. So again, that decision to breastfeed was one that I had some people with like question marks floating over their heads who did not understand my choice. But were gracious enough to accept my choice and to recognize that I was making a choice based on good forethought, on good opinions, that I was well versed. I had done my research, and that I could be trusted, that I had the ancestral wisdom and I could be trusted to know that I was doing the right thing, right? We are reclaiming our stories. We are speaking our own truth, right? Coming online and sharing with you guys about my journey has been enlightening. There are some folks who were like, I had no idea it encompassed all of that. Telling my story is helping me to solidify that label that I own proudly, having been a breastfeeding mom. And it also encourages other moms who might be waffling or might be on the fence or unsure or not feeling supported. I'm hoping that these moments are going to share some enlightenment with them, right? The value of our milk and the value of our traditions cannot be understated. They are directly tied together, and we have the right to choose that, right? And making a good decision around this, you you feel so rewarded on the back end of it. So again, just the right to make this decision for yourself, to sit down and say that this is what you want for your family, and to then go forward with that. We have to respect mom's decisions when it comes to this. Now, here's the other thing. I decided that I was going to body feed exclusively for 1 full year, that my baby would get nothing but breast milk, because their little tiny systems can't handle all that other stuff, right? I when I announced that was a bigger kickback for me than choosing to breastfeed itself, right? People kind of went, I don't know why you want to do that, but yeah, okay. But when I said, no, exclusively for 1 year, she will get nothing but breast milk, that was like, you got to give that baby some rice. That baby going to be hungry and she's going to be growing and you can't keep that up. You going to work. How are you going to, right? I got all the questions. I got all the sads. I got all the stuff, right? But when people really understood that, yeah, no, I'm serious about this. And if you're not on board with that decision, then we need to make other choices about how you are involved in our village circle, in our circle of care. They got on board when they knew and understood that I was resolute, that I had made that decision and we were going forward with that. And I'm almost certain, I can't be 100% sure. I'm almost certain everyone held to that, like that nobody slipped her a chicken bone before that 1 year mark. But I don't know, we're black people be wanting to feed these babies all kind of stuff. Oh my God, before they're ready. So There's no telling, but as far as I know, everybody honored the decision that had been made for my baby. Third principle. Third principle is Ujima, collective work and responsibility. So supporting breastfeeding moms is a group effort. It is a team sport, right? Everybody's like, oh yeah, that's you and the baby. No, no, it takes daddies who run and get snacks when the letdown happens and you have a baby attached to you and you're starving. You literally are going crazy from the hunger, right? It takes elders who show you, oh yeah, no, you hold the baby like this, turn that baby around, let her, right? That know just how to cuddle a baby and let them nurse, right? Um, it takes employers who allow you the time to pump, that allow you that extra 15 minutes to go get that milk and provide a space in the refrigerator, right? I was fortunate. My husband bought a mini fridge and we put it in my classroom. And I always had somewhere that I knew was safe, that was accessible for me, and that I could keep that milk chilled until I could get it back home to the baby. Um, Health professionals, right? If you find a Black or a Native or an Indigenous lactation consultant or lactation coach or midwife, you have found something special. I sought that out specifically for my journey. Someone um, who had the connection and the cultural knowledge, the cultural wisdom that I did not necessarily have. Because again, generationally, that body feeding was not something that had happened. So my mom couldn't tell me what to do. I had homegirls and girlfriends who were my age who I consulted with, and that's also a valuable part of the circle. But very specifically, having someone from your culture to sit with you and hold space with you and create ceremony with you and show you the ways is critical, right? So there's lots of people who have to work together to make this journey possible. There's lots of people who have to come together and really, really support in tangible ways, right? Not just, yay, girl, hooray, and high five you and keep pushing, right? And there are times, y'all, there are times that a mommy just needs a break. A mommy needs you to get this milk in this bottle and take that baby around the corner so I can sit quietly. I need a bath. I need to sit and soak in the tub and calm down, right? Preparing meals, healthy meals, right? Sustaining, like good food, right? Because as a new mom, I can remember I did not want to look at my stove, didn't want to see it. I was too tired. I was too tired, right? And overwhelmed with all the other things. And inevitably, like as soon as I would step to the stove, baby would cry, and then something's getting burned or overmushed, or it's not good, right? So the spirit of Ujima, collective work, being responsible for each other, being your sister's keeper, working with your spouse, aligning in those ways is absolutely crucial to creating the community that we need for our Black and Indigenous mommies to feed these babies, right? Now, next to that is Ujama, which is cooperative economics. Fourth principle. Um, Investing in those lactation coaches is probably the number one way that I would recommend to practice this, because they are upholding a tradition and they are doing work that is so needed, so necessary in our communities. We will lose this knowledge without their hands on the work, literally. So investing in them, right? Paying specifically for a Black or Indigenous doula, midwife, lactation coach, or lactation consultant. Um, you That's the number one way that we can support economically this system, right? Making sure that they are around for a long time to be able to share this knowledge and to be able to educate other women and to be able to bring others into the understanding that this is a solid option for raising and feeding our babies, right? Now, outside of that, they tell you not to share pumps and they tell you not to. I'm like, you order you a new set of wires. That machine has not had any milk in it. It's a vacuum. You switch the wires out. You sanitize those wires. Okay. You sanitize, you boil and sanitize all of those materials and pass them on. Right. I used, again, mason jars. By the time, the little Ziploc baggies, I figured out how to hand pump into those Ziploc baggies, and that created less waste. It was much more sustainable. They were less expensive than going from the pump to the container, and from the container to the bottle, and from the bottle to the, and you lose like fractions of that liquid gold. You lose fractions of that milk medicine along the way when you do it that way, right? But when you are pumping directly into the little Ziploc baggie and the Ziploc baggie drops right into the bottle and off you go, that's one thing. Fresh from the tap is always preferable, I think, for the baby and for the mom. But also, just the resources have to be dispersed and shared, right? If you know there's a mom who wants to breastfeed and financially it's going to be a struggle for her, how can you step in? How can we alleviate that as an issue? I think also knowing knowing that you're going to have extras, you're going to have extra bags, right? One sister buys bags this month, and we share them all around, and everybody's got bags. If I have, you have, right? So borrowing, bartering, thinking about ways of moving that are, again, traditional to our communities. Trading for services, right? I'll bring you a meal and we'll split these bags. We have to begin to think differently economically and begin to kind of come around to the knowledge that everything's not about the money, right? Sometimes not having the money doesn't have to be the absolute barrier. And I will say this again, I said it last week. Breastfeeding was more expensive than I anticipated. It cost me more than I thought it would. But it still did not cost anywhere near what formula would have cost. Nowhere close. So I know that my baby got a safe option directly from me. And I know that it was economical for my family. It was a good investment for my family to have chosen breastfeeding, body feeding, right? The fifth principle of Kwanzaa is, of course, Nia, is purpose. And I think for me, this comes back to the intention that we set when we choose breastfeeding. We are choosing the time. We are choosing the connection. We are choosing those moments with our baby. We're choosing to slow down. Very often when I went back to work, coming home and that first nursing in the evening was like, it was glorious. It was the first time that I could sit still and be quiet and just me and my daughter have a moment. So that was a really special time for me, and it was much needed. There were also times where like she was cluster feeding and I'd be like, oh my God, if somebody doesn't come get this girl off me, I can't take it anymore. Right. But those times balance out. And all in all, I would not trade that journey for anything. I would not trade that experience for anything. We were cuddling the other morning, and Carly said something about when mommy used to nur, because we used our euphemism for it was nur, right, or nursey nurse. If she was in public, because I breastfed for quite a while. And she was a big girl, and I did not want her to like embarrass us in public and say, "Mommy," right? And so we came up with a little coded system, and she was saying, "Mommy, ner, mommy, time for a ner." And so, yeah, she jokes about it even to this day. But it just was really, really sweet to hear her recollection of like, "Mommy, you used to sing to me. And mommy, you used to say things." And she didn't know I was praying. I hadn't conceptualized that, but you used to talk to me, mommy, and sometimes you would read me a book. And just to hear like the sweet little recollections that she has from that experience that we shared, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me, right? It's I know that I have given her something that she's going to be able to build on going forward. I'm building a legacy through my baby. And I did that through breastfeeding. So, Kuumba creativity. I love like creativity is my thing. I'm an artist, singer, dancer, actor, director, performer, like all those things. And creativity for me in breastfeeding came in again in like story time and lullabies, speaking our traditional languages over our baby. I used to like tell her little gullah tales. Um, and just I would read the Gullah Bible over her, like just cute stuff, right? We keep tradition through creative acts, and very often those creative acts are held by the women, and they are held um, by the women in such a way that we pass them down intentionally through our art. So the love and the care and the art that we share and show for our kids, that's all creative. Now, it also is pretty creative how I used to like the two shirt method. I would have on a tank top and a t-shirt, and I pull one up, pull one down. Baby gets in there and nobody can see anything. There are days where like a whole baby was sitting in my lap nursing and nobody knew, right? There's also like learning different methods of expressing that milk. Yes, there's the traditional pump, right? And that you have to attach, and it's got the wires and tubes, and it sings a song to you. Mine used to cuss me out. The noise that it makes. There was one time I swear the thing told me, "Give up, give up, give up." It was singing a whole song to me, y'all. It was terrible. What did your pump used to say to you? For like moms who breastfed formerly, or moms who are in the struggle right now, what does your pump say to you at like 3 o'clock in the morning when you get up to pump? Right. It also was learning that I could hand express. I was like, I don't need a pump at all. I can I can do that. The creativity that Black women and Indigenous women have brought to this practice for years and years. The way you hold a baby, football, hold that baby backwards. You can sideways, traditional cradle, sit in your lap, turn around. I I would let her sit in my lap, turn around backwards, nurse, and I would still be working on my computer. Keep right on, right? Never lose a beat. Wrote a whole book that way. Y'all. Um, there is so much creativity in who we are innately, and we bring that into this practice. We bring that into this practice. The final, the seventh principle of Kwanzaa is Imani, which means faith. Um, it requires a great deal of faith. It requires a great deal of faith for you to sit down and say, I'm making this choice. Even on hard days, I'm going through with it. On the great days, we're going to sail through it. When people question my decision, we're going through with it. When the world and society tells me that they know better than I do, we're going through with it, right? The belief that you have to have in yourself, and the belief that, my partner loves and supports me, and we're going through this together, right? Or that my family loves and supports me, and they are all going to work with me to get through this together. I had a sister friend. She has gone on. She has gone on to become an ancestor. But we went through this journey together, hand in hand. Our babies were born 3 days apart, and we literally walked through all of this together. And one of the things that she would tell me was like, listen, if you run into a slump and you need some milk, you call me. And she knew the same was true. I have extra milk in the freezer. If I have milk, both babies had milk. If she had milk, both babies had milk. And we knew that we were committed to each other in the same ways that we were committed to our children, right? So, milk circles provided a sense of we had faith in each other, that we were eating well, we were taking care of ourselves, and that the milk was going to be still a better option than anything else we could give our babies, right? This ancestral practice is so important, and I have so much faith in it as a tool, as a strategy to reunify our families, to uplift our communities, and to bring our people to a new place, to bring our people forward, right? And I believe that this practice will once again be a thriving practice. So, y'all, those are my notes. Let me know in the chat what you guys think, how you feel about breastfeeding, body feeding, chest feeding, all the milk medicine, all the cool names that it has these days. Talk to me a little bit in the chat about how you're feeling about that. I am particularly interested if you stumbled in and you are not a mommy and you've not been faced with this decision. Do you think that you might choose breastfeeding at this point? Do you think that that's something that you would entertain? Right? So let me know in the chat. I'll hang out for just a few seconds while you guys populate. I start to see them come in. Yeah. All right. I'm coming up on my time, but I am so excited that I had the chance to share this information with you guys. I hope that you will share it forward, that you will send it on to some sister who needs it. I hope that you will think in your head about how you, even if you are not a practicing body feeding mommy, then how can you support someone who is, right? Think about that this week and think about what that can mean for the uplift of our communities. Really think about how that can change the landscape, how that can change the landscape when these babies are getting the vitamins, the nutrients, the colostrum, the antibodies, when they are getting everything that they need in terms of physical nourishment, and they are getting the added emotional nourishment, the spiritual nourishment of, someone holding them close and letting them know that they are loved. That is so important. All right. Friends, I am going to jump off. I am so glad that you were able to spend a few moments with me. Thank you for your likes and your comments. I hope that you'll also follow me. All of my content is not based on breastfeeding, but this was important enough for me to show a connection between Kwanzaa, these 7 principles, how you can incorporate them into this aspect of life. It was really important for me to talk about my journey, to share that, and to show everyone how we can connect and how our communities can rely on each other to move forward. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.